It's Marvel the Marvel here, and tonight we're going to get baked, babble, and body double. The series where I get fried, yap, and hopefully get some shit done. Today we're going to make my bed, do the dishes, vacuum, maybe wipe some tables down, and start cracking on some flan. If you don't know what flan is, it's a very simple custard dish that has like caramel on it. It's fucking delicious. Delicious. And we're in a recession, so we have to have the lowest ingredient dessert possible to try to save some money. Hopefully, this video will influence you to also perhaps get a little baked and also get that stuff that you've been procrastinating done, mama. I know that laundry's been sitting there for a while, just begging for your attention. Go do it. While I'm vacuuming and also doing the dishes, I may have to do a little voiceover. I know it's like cheating or whatever, but you literally will not be able to hear me over the sound of the running water or the diabolically loud vacuum. So, for the sake of audio quality and also your ability to even understand what I'm saying, I'm just going to do a voiceover. Also, before anyone even comments on the situation, yes, my Christmas tree is still up. Did I just get on you for leaving your laundry for days, weeks, maybe months at a time? Well, yes. And did I also leave my tree up all the way into April, almost May? Well, also yes. There's a reason a coach coaches and doesn't play. Now, for my favorite step, the first one. Step 1 has been complete, and I'm feeling much better. Anyways, it's time for, you know. Productivity! I don't know about y'all, but I think I'm ready to get down and dirty and do these chores. Second step, bedroom. Hi friends, we're in my bedroom. Sorry. This angle is so poop ass and I know it, but I can't get a better angle. I need to get a tripod and I will have that one very soon. But I am in my bedroom. I am going to fold my blankets and all that, get my bed prepared, fix up my Fugway collection, which I can show you once that's done. Cause I love my Fugways. This is like a horrible angle on me too, but it's okay. Anyways, I'm just gonna yap about random stuff. I'm actually going to yap about random reality television because that is one of my biggest and deepest, longest running guilty pleasures. I just can't stop, won't stop, can't stop, won't stop. So if you've been living under a rock or you just don't care to watch slop television on Netflix, there's that show Age of Attraction, and I did not finish it because like once the novelty of like ew gross wore off, it was just like, this is so boring. It's just like a bunch of like middle-aged people being like, I don't know if I can get over this, and the young person just being like, it's chill, and it's just like, it's so awkward, and it just like once the first few episodes went by, I just stopped watching because I got so bored and fell asleep. But anyways, before I freaking yap any further about the show, if you haven't heard about it, Age of Attraction is a show about like a bunch of people who vary, and some of them very, very much in age. And they're all like dating without like knowing what each other's ages are. And it's basically like asking the age-old question, is age really just a number? And let me spoil it for you, boo. It's not. age is definitely very much a very real factor. Like, I just don't understand what these, like, like, people in their, like, 40s or 50s think they have in common with, like, 21. Like, well, actually, no. The youngest person is 22. Sorry, I know I'm out of frame, but I'm on my bed. I'm dusting the sheets. But, like, I just don't understand what these people think they could possibly have in common with these 20-something-year-olds. And, like, there seems to be, like, a very unique problem, especially with, like, a couple of the older women, where it's, like, this insecurity about, like, how society will perceive them. And, like, let me tell you, the older men don't feel that, like, at all. They have no reservations. In fact, one of them, that his friends had a bet as to if he was going to end up with a 22 to 25-year-old blonde girl, because that he specifically goes for younger girls that I guess are blonde. Like, like, don't make me mad. I'm pretty sure his name is Peter or something, or actually, I don't know. His face is very generic looking, and he has those, like, very scary bright veneers that I don't like. No offense, if you have veneers, like, hey, like, look, if I needed to get veneers, like, my teeth were rotted out, I would absolutely get fucking veneers. No questions asked, especially if I had the money for it. But if it's a cosmetic choice, like, your teeth are fine. Like, you have normal, average teeth, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like an obsession for perfection. I, like, do whatever you want, but me personally, unless it's necessary, like, please stop. Like, it's normal to have teeth that aren't, like, this glowing fluorescent white. Like, it's so uncanny. But anyways, let me not get off track. But anyways, the women in that show, Age of Attraction, seem to have, like, especially this one girl, I think her name's Vanessa. I don't know, all their names blurred together, especially because I did not finish it because it got so boring. But white woman number one, if you've watched the show, you'll know who I'm talking about. She is, like, with this guy who's 27, and she is, like, all into it, and then, like, she keeps like talking about, like, oh, like, I don't know what my kids are gonna say, and, like, what will the people think, and, like, she especially, like, dives, like, headfirst into that thought process, like, when she finds out that he's 27, because guess what? He is younger than her son, her literal child. So she's dating someone younger than her child. Like, it's just, and, like, and she, like, it's so weird because, like, one of the, like, so this woman in particular, because she feels so insecure about, like, the age thing, which, like, yeah, girl, you feel ashamed because it is weird. Like, you have nothing in common with this young man, which, like, he's not, like, a child, he's 27, but, like, you have nothing in common with him. Like, please, like, he's more age appropriate for your children. Like, stop while you're ahead, please. But it's just, like, she, like, does not tell her kids his age, because they have, like, a whole, like, episode where they're all supposed to, like, meet each other's, like, special people, whoever they decide that will be in their life, like, outside of the show. And this lady, white woman number one, does not tell her kids about his age because she knows that it's fucking weird and it's uncomfortable, and she doesn't want them to know because she's ashamed. But anyways, they have this, like, dinner with everyone, and it gets brought up that white woman number one did not tell her kids. And another lady, she's one of the older women there, Leah, I do remember her name. She was kind of interesting, like, an uncanny way. She makes a valid point, like, why didn't you tell your kids? Like, that's just kind of strange. because like that's the whole point of a fucking show, right? And she like starts like trying to clap back and is like, don't come for me, while she's like crying, and it is like like please. She is like trying, I don't know what she's doing. She's trying to convince herself that this is fine, and like the only reason why she feels ashamed is because of other people's opinions. But no, mama, you feel the same way. That is why you feel such deep and internal guilt about what is going on and why you keep crying and like freaking out, because it is not like, it's just, it is uncanny. It's not, I don't know, in my opinion, like age gap relationships are okay up until a certain point. Like when you get to like, you know, a certain gap, it gets weird. Like when you get to like 16 or 20 years, especially, like it depends on what age range. Like if you're 60 and your partner is 76, that's not quite as weird, you know what I mean? Like if you guys met during that, like those ages, because you're both like older and you're not that like different in where you are in life, if that makes sense. But if you're 20 and the guy that's trying to court you is 36 years old, that's weird. Like that's weird. But anyways, that show, the biggest age gap is between this couple, Vanel and Jorge. And oh, might I add, I cannot stand this guy Jorge. He is just like, it's just, and let me start out by saying my dislike for this man is justified, because I mean, I know they don't know how old each other are, but he knows how old he is, and he like, although he knows he doesn't know exactly how old she is, you know she's not your age. 60. This guy is 60, and she is 27, and he finds this out and doesn't care. That is not, ew. It just like aches me out. I'm sorry, like. I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like age gap relationships are kind of like a controversial subject, but like I said, I feel like up until a certain point, it starts getting weird. Like, what could a 60-year-old possibly have in common with a 27-year-old? They're in like completely different stages of life, quite literally. Like, he has children, which he also hides from her, might I add. He doesn't tell her that he has children until after there's like this ceremony that they do where they reveal each other's ages, and then they decide like if they want to like give each other promise rings or whatever, and like try to like date each other for a while or whatever during the show. And during this ceremony, he does not it's only after the ceremony, I mean, he tells her that he has kids. So this like scheme and trifling motherfucker, who is also a defense attorney, I'm pretty sure. So like also just like, it's just like all sorts of inappropriate. But he then like tells her afterwards and is like, oh, well, I wasn't hiding it from you. I like just basically like kind of just want to make sure you were locked in beforehand. Like, stop, I can't. It is so uncomfortable. And this is a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Scroll away for a few seconds if you don't want to hear this. If you are just gnawing at the bit to find out for yourself what happened in this divisive show. These two do not work. The relationship ends because Jorge, they were walking in the street or whatever, and Jorge, there was like this weirdo guy, and like instead of just ignoring, Jorge decides, no, this is the perfect moment to show how alpha and beast mode I can be, and like it just he like starts getting into it with this random guy who's like, obviously, like they don't show us, but probably like, you know, those like weirdos on the street that you just like keep avert your gaze and just keep it pushing. Like you don't engage, and you don't give it any sort of attention. But Jorge thought this is the perfect time for me to aura farm and show her how like cool and awesome I am, and like how I can defend her as a man. And so he gets into it, and Vanille does not like it, and she tries to express that to him, like, "Hey, I did not appreciate when you did that. It made me really uncomfortable. I kind of just wanted to like get away, essentially." And he's like, he like pulls the H card on her, like, "Oh well, I'm older and wiser, yeah, youngster, and like I've dealt with these sorts of threats. How would you even know about these kinds of threats and what to do with them?" And and it is just insanely uncomfortable. Like, please, I'm very happy that Vanelle doesn't even give it a second thought. She just like walks away immediately and just says, "I'm done," and leaves. Like, please, like, cause don't even give that any sort of attention, any sort of second thought. Like, he is such a loser. Like, how are you 60 pulling out these lines? Like, it amazes me, honestly. Anyways, I mean, most of the couples in general do not work in this show. It's probably like towards the end of my rant for this show. Say hello to little lobster. Hello, hello, little lobster. The relationships in the show do not work. I think there's only like a couple where they're still together, and it almost feels like it's like out of spite. Like, please, like, you guys know y'all are not a forever thing. Like, just let it go. Like, please. It's almost like to prove to everyone, like, yeah, I was right. Age really is just a number. Like, no, it is not. Not to mention, like, the two main hosts. Well, essentially, the main host is the guy, but like, they try to make it seem like it's a couple hosts, like they're the shades or whatever. But essentially, they're an age gap couple too, and they were like, age is just a number for us. And like, if anything, the young lady who is much younger than him, like I think like 18 years or 16 years or something like that, actually was more dominant in pursuing him. Like, get the fuck off my screen. Like, the like awkward little rant about that, and then she is barely like ever seen on the show ever again. They just like used to be like, see, she's fine with it, so you should be too. Like, it's I just don't particularly like it. I don't particularly appreciate what agenda that show is spreading. Just strange. Like, once again, age gaps are fine to a point. Like, if you're 65 and your partner is 80, whatever, do it up. But if you're 18 and your partner is 39, mm-mm, mm-mm. Anyways, gang, we finished my bedroom. So let me show you. This is what the bed's looking like. Okay, okay, oh Chris. And take a look at that Fogler situation. Mm, mm, mm. I gotta get in that so bad. It is actually taking up like a very. I don't. It's not like coming off on camera, but it's starting to take up a lot of our room. Genuinely. We may now move on to the dishes, where I will be doing a voiceover because you cannot hear me in my sexy ass voice. So I'll be back via voiceover, and you'll also be watching me do the dishes. So. Hello, divas. We've now gotten to the Am I the Asshole voiceover portion of this video. So, this first post is titled, Am I the Asshole for Almost Killing My Friend's Cats Because I Wanted Ice Cream? I don't mean to judge just off the title, but there better be a good damn reason other than I wanted ice cream. Anyways, this story happened a few years ago. My friends and I are still trying to settle this debate, so help us out and let us know your thoughts. Ages are from when the story took place. Me, Anna, Isabel, and Grace, all 15 female, were hanging out at Grace's house. We were hanging out and decided to walk to get ice cream about a 20-minute walk away. Before we left, Isabel and I told Anna and Grace they should grab jackets because it was pretty chilly outside. They insisted they wouldn't need them, but took forever to get ready, so Isabel and I got impatient and started walking without them. They ended up leaving about 5 minutes after us. Halfway to the ice cream shop, Anna and Grace called and told us we needed to turn around because they wanted to go back to Grace's house for jackets since they were cold. Classic. They said we should just get to Grace's parents. Oh, sorry. They said we should just get Grace's parents to drive us there instead, which made zero sense since Isabel and I were already over halfway there. We had basically done the walk already. Isabel and I were annoyed because we had told them to bring jackets. After arguing for a bit, Isabel gave in and agreed to turn around with them. I'll admit I was being stubborn, and this is where I might be the asshole. But I didn't understand why I should have to walk all the way back because they ignored our advice. We'd already covered a good amount of ground, so I decided to keep going and said I'd meet them there. Then I got a phone call. Grace called me furious. Anna and Isabel were on the call too, and they told me I needed to return to Grace's house immediately. Apparently, me continuing to walk without them was extremely disrespectful, not only to Grace but also to her parents. At that point, I was so irritated that I decided I wasn't even going to get ice cream anymore and decided to walk home instead, which I said on the phone and hung up. A few minutes later, they called me back and said that if I didn't turn around, Grace would send her parents after me in their car to pick me up and bring me back. I said that would basically be kidnapping because I would be taken somewhere against my will. No matter what, I wasn't getting into their car. Grace insisted that I needed to return immediately and apologized to her parents for continuing to walk to get ice cream. I ignored it and kept walking home, thinking that was finally the end of it. Once I was about 5 minutes away from the house, Grace called me again. She said she had left her house on foot to look for me because she was worried about my safety and I didn't know where I went. I mentioned I specifically said I would be walking home earlier. She said she was extremely disappointed in me, then brought up that because of the scene I had caused, she went to look for me and accidentally left her garage door open, which could have allowed her cats to get outside, and blamed me for potentially putting her pets at risk. So, am I the asshole for almost harming her pets because I wanted to get ice cream? Okay, so I thought this story was going to be far more malicious, but in fact, it just seems like this is like, I don't know, this is just very strange. You better get back here, or else everyone is going to explode, including my cats. It's just very strange that she was like, you're disrespecting all of us because you walked to get ice cream instead of coming into the car with us. Like, what does it matter? Like, that's I don't know. I thought that this was going to be far more nefarious, but in fact, it was just like a matter of a very strange and unusual friendship situation. So I do not think that the original poster is the asshole, which, not that it matters, but we are reading Am I the Asshole Reddit post, so I figured I'd put my input just a little bit at the end of each post. But yeah, I don't see how you walking to get ice cream after they turn around because they didn't grab jackets, which you suggested that they do multiple times before you guys left. That's on them. That's really weird. Anyways, moving on. The title of the next story is Am I the Asshole for Telling My Biological, in quotation marks, daughter that she's not mine? For some context, my best friend Dylan and I have known each other for years, and after he and his husband Grant got married, they started looking for egg donors and asked if I would donate my eggs. I agreed. It was a long, painful process, but eventually they got a surrogate and welcomed their daughter, Merida. Fast forward 5 years, and I was invited to Merida's birthday party. Everything was going great until Grant's mom cornered me with a bunch of questions. She's always been weird. She skipped their wedding, has made rude comments for years about Merida having two dads, and constantly says Merida doesn't look like either of them. Dylan and Grant had never told her who the donor was because they were no contact with her for a long time. She told me she had seen my post about the downsides of donating eggs and asked if I was their donor. I told her no because it was none of her business. She kept insisting Merida looked just like me and eventually said she knew I was the biological mother and that I needed to step up and be there for my daughter. At that point, I just left. Later that night, Dylan texted asking why I had left so early, so I told him everything. He apologized and said he would handle it. A couple of months later, Dylan and Grant asked me to babysit Merida while they were out for their anniversary. Merida was acting quieter than usual, and after her parents left, I tried to talk to her, and after a couple of minutes of silence, she looked at me and asked, "Are you my mom?" I was completely caught off guard. I asked why she thought that, and she said Grandma told her I was. I told her I wasn't her mom and that Dylan and Grant were her parents. I wanted to explain what an egg donor was, but she's only 5, and I didn't feel like it was my place to have that conversation without her dad's there. She started crying and ran to her room. Immediately, I called Dylan and Grant and explained what happened, and they came home. They thanked me for calling them right away and apologized for the situation. Now I'm wondering if I handled it wrong. I didn't want to lie to her, but I also didn't want to explain something so personal without her parents present. I feel terrible about the whole thing, and I keep getting Grant's mom in my comments calling me a deadbeat mother, and it's really starting to get to me. Let me know what I should do, slash, if I'm in the wrong. I used fake names and tried to explain this as short and quick as I can, so sorry if it doesn't exactly make sense. Am I the asshole? Before I give my input, I also realized at the end of the last story I hadn't said what the verdict from the comments was up in regards to the asshole status of the original poster. So I'll be doing that for the remainder of the stories that I read going forward. But before I do that, I will now put in my input. You're not the asshole. I think that that was a pretty appropriate way to handle that. You aren't, while you donated your eggs and, technically, biologically speaking, scientifically, that there's a genetic relation. You're correct in saying that you're not her mother. You were assisting your friends with starting a family, and that's it. And I appreciate that you affirmed that those were her parents, and you know and I agree that it was a good call to not have that conversation without her parents knowing that conversation was to be had and how it was to take place. So I don't think you're the asshole at all. But let's take a look at these comments. Oh, and even before taking a look at the comments, I also want to touch on the fact that Grant's mother is entirely like just trying to cause trouble for absolutely no reason. It's so inappropriate to come up to her and demand that she take responsibility for a child with which she did not agree to include in her life as her child. She was doing a favor for a friend. It wasn't like an agreed upon, you know what I mean? I mean, yes, it was agreed upon, but it wasn't agreed upon that she would have any parental rights to that child whatsoever. So it's so inappropriate. And then to like tell this little toddler, like, that's your real parent, like that's so weird and so inappropriate. And also just like so confusing to like tell a child of that age. And I mean, it's just so inappropriate all around her behavior. But anyways, let's now look at the comments. One comment says, "Not the asshole, Grant's mother is. She is stirring up things that do not exist. You donated some biological cells, nothing else. If anyone is the mom, it is the surrogate that carried the baby." The next comment says, "Not the asshole. Her parents have not done enough to inform or prepare her for the situation, and they should have had a tighter leash on Grandma, even the second there was a whiff of smoke. None of these people are managing their monkeys or their circuses, as is their job to do." Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We should really throw it on the parents. We can all say that we would react perfectly in this situation, but it is an uncomfortable conversation to have with your child, especially when they're that age. So I understand um why the parents had yet to have that conversation with her, as she is like a baby still. But anyways, the general consensus is that OP is not the asshole. As I stated before. The title of the next story is Am I the Asshole for Refusing to Attend My Sister's Wedding After She Wanted Me to Prove I Didn't Have Anything with Her Fiance? I have my thoughts, but let's not jump to conclusions. I, 26 female, have always been close with my older sister, 29 female. She's getting married in about a month to her fiance, who she had been with for 4 years now. But before they met, I worked at the same company as him for almost 2 years, and we were friendly coworkers. We normally grabbed lunch with other colleagues and occasionally texted about work. Nothing romantic ever happened between us. Fast forward a year, and he and my sister meet through mutual friends. When she found out we already knew each other, she laughed it off and even joked that I should tell her if he had any embarrassing stories from work. Well, everything was fine until a few weeks ago when she called me crying, saying she found old messages between him and me from years ago. One message where he told me, I miss you today, and me also telling him, I wished you came to work today. The reason for those messages were due to the fact that we usually help each other with tasks at work and cover for each other. Besides that, we only talked about work, shared memes, work gossip, and one other conversation where he thanked me for helping him prepare for a presentation, which is something we usually do. She asked me if I had ever had feelings for him. I said no, because I genuinely didn't and never saw him that way. Then she asked if I'd be willing to let her read through my old phone backups and social media messages to see the context for those messages for her peace of mind. Okay. I laughed because I thought she was joking, or better still, let her go through his phone and not mine. And I started getting annoyed when she kept insisting I allow her to go through my phone. She said if I had nothing to hide, I shouldn't have a problem with proving it, and her friend suggested the same thing, and that if we did this one thing, it would help avoid future drama before the wedding. I refused immediately, not because there's anything to find, but because I think it's insane. It's an insane invasion of privacy. Yes, it is. Apparently that made me look guilty in a way, but I just wanted her to go through his phone instead and not mine. She still asked why won't I clear my name and give it a rest. This even pissed me off more because she's focusing on the wrong person, and what name do I need to clear? She told my mom about the whole thing, and her response was that I'm being too prideful over little issues. Oh, brother. The final straw was when my sister said she didn't feel comfortable having me at the wedding unless I handed over my phone first, so we sorted out once and for all. But why can't she ask her fiance? Her response was, I don't want him to think that I don't trust him. So I, oh, okay. So I told her I wouldn't be attending at all, and she could have the wedding she wanted without me there. Let her go through his phone and not mine. Am I the asshole? My thoughts immediately are no. OP is certainly not the asshole. That's kind of intense. I mean, she looked through the messages. It's like she thinks that I mean, clearly she doesn't believe her sister or her partner when they say that there was nothing between them. But, I don't know. I think that she's running the risk, her sister, not OP's sister, is running the risk of ruining her, marriage in the making because of this situation. Certainly I feel like it would cause me pause to be like, oh, so you guys knew each other, huh? But it wouldn't, like, especially after seeing the messages and just being like, oh, okay, like you guys were coworkers and that's all that it was. Like, move on. Like, obvious, clearly, she is either insecure and there's multiple possibilities. Insecurity, a mixture of insecurity and jealousy regarding her sister, because she seems like that seems to be a sore spot, her sister, in a way. But once again, I'm just drawing from what I'm able to gather from this post, and this is only as accurate as my biases. But um, and another possibility, other than being insecure or the combo of insecurity and jealousy, she could possibly be cheating, because I don't know, she is very fixated on this, And I feel like those are usually the three options when someone is fixated on their partner cheating. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little suspicious. I don't know. Either she needs to do some, well, actually, either way, she needs to do some reflection, but either she needs to reflect on her insecurity or she has some explaining to do, possibly. One comment says, not the asshole, and frankly, I think she either has caught him cheating with someone else before or she is not emotionally mature enough to be married. And someone responded with a similar sentiment as me, or she has slash is cheating and is projecting. I don't know. Another comment reads, "Not the asshole. I don't want him to think that I don't trust him." Yeah, I thought that the this comment says is pretty funny, and I agree. I thought that was kind of humorous. So she already violated his trust by going through his phone and yours by accusing you. I wonder how she is going to justify your absence to him. I don't want to recommend you telling him because I would stay as far away from this drama as possible, but be prepared for her to go on a smear campaign. Yeah, clearly OP's sister has some things that she needs to work on internally, and that is heavily bleeding into her relationships, whether they be familial or romantic. Anyways, moving on. Divas, I just tried to record another story and realized there's not enough time between the clip of me vacuuming and the next clip where I am indeed talking. So, without further ado, I will be playing some lovely background music and hopefully you do whatever you need to do, body doubling and all that while you listen to some tunes. Mwah.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he described by creating an imaginary picture. Usually it's something that moves.
Hi guys, I don't know if you noticed, but I may or may not have not filmed me wiping the counters. I know, but I had to kind of lock in for a second because I'm trying to get all this done before my man comes home. But anyways, to make up for it, I'm gonna show y'all how I make the juiciest, most voluptuous sandwich. I'm probably not gonna go step by step in terms of like one piece of cheese at a time or whatever, but I'm gonna give you the basic rundown. First, you're gonna want to get your Italian. I'm paying someone to do this. Sorry. First, you're gonna want to get your Italian bread. You're gonna want to get arugula. You're gonna want to get balsamic vinegar glaze. You're gonna want to get softened butter, prosciutto, arugula, mozzarella, and bacon, and 2 Roma tomatoes. You're gonna want to preheat your oven to 350 for the bacon. I basket weave it. I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done weaving it. It's exactly as it sounds. You basket weave it just to make it easier to hold. And also I'm gonna show you the the order in which I put the ingredients, because that's actually much more important than you think, because I've made the sandwich before. I figured out the strat on how to keep it all together and it would fall apart with every other bite, but I've mastered it just for you. Okay, Snooker, I'm all done weaving the bacon. Do you see what I mean though? It's like a classic basket weave. I need to fix that upper layer. I didn't even notice. But just the old 1 2 1 2 over under. So simple, but it really makes a difference. It keeps the bacon on so much better than just like loose ass bacon. Now you're gonna want to throw this bad boy in the oven at 350, like I said, for the foreseeable future. I never time it, don't ask. It's just until the bacon looks good. Okay, pookies, I'll be back. And while that bacon's cooking up, you're gonna want to put your loaf of Italian bread in there as well, but only for 8 minutes. And then you want to take it out, let it cool, and slice it in half. And while both of those are in the oven, you're gonna want to take your 2 Roma tomatoes, clean them obviously, and then just slice them up. It doesn't matter. It just depends on whether you want it thick or thin, essentially. As promised, sliced tomatoes. The loaf has officially been extracted. See how it's crispy, but when I press down, it's so soft. It's like, oh, you want it? Yes, yes, yes. So it's all cut in half. But y'all, I fucked up the cut. Anyways, now that it's all cut in half, you're gonna want to start assembling that shit. First things first, balsamic vinegar. You're gonna want to saturate that gluten as such, and then you want to fill this all up with arugula and such and such. And then next you want to add your tomatoes. Tomatoes are on, and then after that you're gonna want to add your prosciutto. Y'all, my husband came home, but in that last clip I added the mozzarella and prosciutto, and now I'm adding the butter on that front part and that top piece, and then I added the bacon, and then I put the bread on top, and just like that. And then I cut it, and it's so good. Thank you so much for body doubling with me today, baddies. I hope you got all your stuff done. I know I did. Until next time. Mwah!